Welcome to the lesson on circumference and area of a circle. Circumference and area are two measurements that we can calculate using formulas. Let's take a look at the circle we've been given. Let's start with just some basic pieces of information about a circle. First of all, every circle is named by its center point. We're going to call this circle N. Please record all the notes. Circle N has some very important line segments located within the circle. The first important line segment is called the radius. It starts at the center of the circle and radiates out to the side. Please draw the radius in your circle from center to 3 o'clock. We can see that the length of this radius is 4 centimeters. Let's label this line segment 4 centimeters and write the word radius on the line segment. No matter where we draw a radius in this particular circle, it will always be 4 centimeters in length. Let's draw another radius from center to 2 o'clock. That radius will be 4 centimeters. Let's draw another radius from center to 4 o'clock. That radius will be 4 centimeters in length. No matter where you draw your radius, it will always be 4 centimeters in length for this particular circle. Underneath the circle, please write little r, and we're going to label the fact that the radius is 4 centimeters in this circle. That's one very important line segment that's within this circle, but another one is called a diameter. The diameter is a very important line segment that stretches from one side of the circle to another, passing through the center point. If we start at 12 o'clock and draw a line segment heading to 6 o'clock, we will be constructing a diameter. A diameter is made up of 2 radii. From 12 o'clock to center, that's 4 centimeters in length. And from center to 6 o'clock, that's 4 centimeters in length. So we know that the entire diameter length is double the radius length. 4 plus 4 makes a diameter length of 8 centimeters. And we'll label this diameter length underneath the circle as well using the variable d, and that is 8 centimeters in length. Notice that the diameter is double the radius length. Also, within your circle, label the diameter like so. No matter where you draw a diameter within this circle, it will always be 8 centimeters in length. Let's draw a diameter from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. This diameter is also 8 centimeters in length. So in this particular circle, our radius is 4, our diameter is 8. Now let's take a look at the circumference and the area. Circumference, by definition, is the measurement of the distance around the outside of the circle. And we're going to measure this distance around the outside in linear units. Linear units can be something as small as a centimeter or something larger, like an inch. If we take our pencil and put it at 12 o'clock, and we trace the the outside of the circle. That represents the length or the circumference around the circle. When we find the circumference length, we're looking for how many linear units it takes to travel the full distance around the outside of the circle. That's the first calculation we can come up with for this particular circle. And in this case, we're going to measure the distance around the circle in centimeters. Now, the second measurement we can calculate is area. Area is the measurement of the surface, the flat surface inside the circle. We're going to measure that with square units, like a square centimeter, and we can write that as centimeter to the second power, or we can write square, we can abbreviate square centimeter. There are also square inches, square feet, even square miles. But for this particular case, we're going to measure the flat surface on the inside in square units. That's a measurement of area. You can see the flat surface within this circle is covered with square centimeters. And we're going to take and calculate how many square centimeters it takes to cover the flat surface inside this particular circle. That is a measurement of area. We're going to use two different formulas to calculate each of those measurements. Before we begin using the formulas, let's take a moment to discuss pi. Take a look at the bottom of your paper, and there's lots of different options for pi. What value do we put in? We could use the rounded version of pi, which is very common, 3.14. Another rounded version of pi that many people use is 3.14159. And then the final value that we're going to use quite often is the rounded version of pi located. It is stored under the pi key, and its value, which is a rounded value, is 3.141592654. All you have to do is press the pi key, and that rounded value of pi will appear on your screen once you hit the equal sign. So, although there are a lot of options, we're going to be using the pi key today as we calculate the circumference and the area of this given circle. Let's begin. Make sure you have a calculator and record the notes on your paper. Let's start with the circumference formula, measuring the distance around the circle. We know we're going to be using C equals pi times 2 times r. That will always be step 1 for circumference. Drop a dotted line down the equal sign. That will help us stay organized as we continue to calculate circumference. Step 2, let's substitute for what we know. C equals pi key times 2 times, and in this case, our radius value is 4. Now, to multiply 2 times 4 is very easy. We get the value 8 times pi. But your final step is going to be pick up the calculator and punch in 8 times pi key and hit equals. It will give you the value of the circumference. Take a moment and punch in 8 times pi and record your entire answer on your paper. This is the value that should have appeared on your calculator. We're going to round to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. Take a moment, box your given value to the tenths place, and in your final step, let's round to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. You should have gotten 25 1/10. Let's label that with centimeters. That is the distance around this entire circle. Now let's calculate the area on the inside. Let's look at the area formula on the right side of the page. Step 1, area equals pi times r times r. We're going to use this formula to calculate the area. Please drop a dotted line down the equal sign. It will help us stay organized in a line. And let's begin to substitute into the formula. Area equals Pkt times a radius of 4 times a radius of 4. Well, we know 4 times 4 is 16. So we can simplify this and rewrite it as 16 times Pkt. Now, pick up your calculator, and we're going to punch in 16 times Pkt equals. And we're going to write our entire answer down on paper. Take a moment and punch in 16 times Pkt. Write the entire answer on the page. What appears on the screen, please record it right now on your sheet. Now, in order to manage this number, we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So take a moment, box your answer over to the tenths place, and because the 6 is 5 or more, we're going to raise that score. You should get 50.3, and we're going to label it square centimeters, because remember, the unit we're using to measure that flat surface is a square centimeter. You can also write centimeters squared, or centimeters to the second power. This concludes the lesson on circumference and area of a circle.